we should show just as much respect for those that have passed on as we do for the ones that are still living. They all fought for this country just as much as the ones that are alive today.
We have a volunteer Army mentality here from the very get-go. They didn't have to do it. They did it out of the love of country.
All the actually the same saying, protecting this country and protecting the people in the country.
When we can take our time and our expertise and use that to promote good health for them and get them the services they needed, that's quite rewarding.
Freedom is not free, and our country is built on so many things, but we can never forget that it's built on the backs of our veterans, and in so many cases built on the blood of those who gave their lives for our country. I think that we can be proud of our patriotism here in West Texas, the way that we do support our veterans.
Midland County is proud of their veterans, both the living and the ones that have passed on.
The Permian Basin is very supportive of the veteran community, and it's just been amazing.
They didn't want thanks, like don't fall all over yourself saying thank you for your service, but just the recognition that they did serve and that it was important that they served.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight as we honor our nation's and our local vets. I'm Madeline Bierster.
And I'm Madeline Dunn. Honoring veterans is something frequently done in West Texas.
And Veterans Day is storied all the way back to 1921. That year, an unknown World War I soldier was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. The memorial took place on November 11th. The date has much significance. At 11 a.m. on November 11th, 3 years earlier in 1918, the fighting in World War I came to an end. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the day was forever known as Armistice Day, a day that's still commemorated at the same date, time, and place every year.
Armistice Day officially received its name in 1926. It became a national holiday 12 years later, both by congressional action. But only a few years after the holiday proclamation, America went back to war. The first celebration, dubbed Veterans Day, was in Birmingham, Alabama back in 1947. It took nearly a decade for the bill to pass. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower proclaimed November the 11th as the very first official Veterans Day. That history also put Midland, Odessa on the global map.
Yeah, during World War II, Midland Army Airfield, or MAF, was the world's largest bombardier training facility.
We talked to the organizers here at the Commemorative Air Force Museum who are working to preserve that history.
Well, what we have focused this area of our museum on is veterans who served in the war, who lived either in Midland before the war or settled here after the war. And we have Earl Craig, we've got Harvey Hurd, obviously we have the President Bush exhibit. We have some kind of minor figures, Paul Knoll, who lived in Odessa, my parents who lived in Midland after the, long after the war. So we're trying to collect stuff that belonged to people who had a connection to Midland, Odessa, either during the war, before the war, after the war, and put it on display. People don't know what Midland was and how important Midland Army Airfield was to the war effort. It was the largest training base for bombardiers in the war. And that history is slipping away if somebody doesn't step up and try to preserve it. And that's what we really pride ourselves in doing. And I think you got a picture of the map that was made by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers of the Midland Army Airfield in 1942. I think it's amazing that we can be here and still use the same runways that they used in 1942. We think we're very proud of what we have here. You know, of all of the people, and I've interviewed hundreds of World War II veterans, they didn't want thanks, like don't fall all over yourself saying thank you for your service, but just the recognition that they did serve and that it was important that they served. I think the CAF does a fairly good job of preserving our history that way, and I think people ought to be able to say thank you and have some sincerity in their voice when they say it. I don't think you can say thank you enough. And it's not just World War II veterans, it's all veterans, people from Desert Storm who served. I mean, we have a volunteer Army mentality here from the very get-go. And they didn't have to do it. They did it out of love of country, which I think you can manifest by saying thank you to a vet.
And there are several memorials you can come check out to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
One of them is here near the Midland Airport at the Permian Basin Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The memorial was conceived by, built by, and dedicated to West Texas Vietnam veterans. Engraved here are the names of all of the Permian Basin residents who died. It's also a gathering place for a lot of veterans, especially on occasions such as this.
You support this country. You support this flag that we've got up here flying 24 hours a day. This is the United States of America. We've got to protect it. And that's what we do. We give our lives for it. In fact, my best friend is still in Korea somewhere. He was just barely 18 years old. And he went in because he felt it was his duty to go in.
Now, many may not know that Chris Kyle, the American sniper, was born right here in Odessa.
That's why this memorial is so special to so many West Texans. Chris Kyle was born in Odessa in 1974. Kyle and a friend of his were killed in 2013 by a former Marine. Now a 2,800 square foot memorial plaza sits on Highway 191 in his honor. The limestone paving the memorial is from a quarry near his home. Back here in Midland, you can pay your respects here at Gratitude Square.
We met with one of the organizers to talk about the importance of the memorial.
It's one of my favorite things to look at. It's been, my father was a veteran. He was in the United States Marine Corps, and he's from Midland, and his name will be going on the wall sometime in the spring. But it's a project that I'm very proud of. As you can see, we have a statue of an angel over here, and that's for the Gold Star families. Those are for the ones that lost their lives in war. And we should show just as much respect for those that have passed on as we do for the ones that are still living. They all fought for this country just as much as the ones that are alive today. We're very proud of it. I'm very proud of it, and I hope Midland's proud of it, and they come down and visit it as often as they can.
We're not done honoring West Texans who have served just yet.
We're meeting some local vets who are making a big impact. We've got that when we come back. Welcome back as we continue to honor our local vets.
Tonight we're introducing you to the one man who got the celebration of his dreams.
Our Rachel Hallam has that story.
Big Spring's very own Carl Reed turned 100 years old earlier this year. After serving in World War II, he has a lot to celebrate. Take a look.
Happy birthday. You made it.
Happy birthday to you.
Welcome back as we continue to honor our local vets.
Tonight we're introducing you to the one man who got the celebration of his dreams.
Our Rachel Hallam has that story.
Big Spring's very own Carl Reed turned 100 years old earlier this year. After serving in World War II, he has a lot to celebrate. Take a look.
Happy birthday. You made it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all of you.
Thursday, June 15th, World War II veteran and Big Spring native Carl Reed celebrates his 100th birthday.
It's really, really good. You know, we've run through a lot of issues in the last few months, and being able to celebrate with him for 100 years he's been looking forward to it for a long time.
While some would probably want something big for their birthdays, all Reed wanted while he celebrated this incredible milestone was 100 birthday cards from those in his community.
How many people do you know is 100? I'm celebrating 100.
And the response was unimaginable.
People we've never heard of, but they were all giving support to him for being a World War II vet. And it's just unbelievable that the people that have sent cards.
The Lamb and Lusk Sanchez Texas Veterans Home posted about Reed's request on Facebook at the end of May, and it went viral.
We've had an amazing response around the world, I think. Some cards from Italy, Germany. So yeah, worldwide. Happy birthday, Papa. Congratulations on 100 years.
And suddenly, he was receiving more than he could imagine. More than 4,500 cards were delivered by his birthday, and many expect there to be many more to come.
It's pretty amazing. It's nice to see that people see a veteran this way and somebody his age and take the time to send a card.
He said a moment like this makes him want to set new goals.
And hoping I can get to 200.
And family just wanted to send their thanks to the community for helping their loved one enjoy their birthday.
I just want to thank every one of them for all their concern and all their everything they've done for us. You know, it's been really emotional time.
Just thank everybody so much that took the time to send a card and everything, and it's really touched our heart. Has mine anyway.
Now, Reed is not the only man who is celebrated and beloved in our community. After David H. Gallivan passed away, hundreds of people came out to pay tribute to the veteran. I spoke with his family on the impact that he has left on this community.
He lived a life of service in one way or the other, from start to end.
David H. Gallivan was a proud veteran who served his country for more than 20 years before retiring. He passed away last month, but of course left a lasting impact.
Being proud of the man he was and hearing how he affected people and hearing those stories, it makes you proud.
Gallivan joined the Air Force right out of high school before joining the Army. After 2 tours in Vietnam and 1 in Korea, he chose to settle down in Odessa, Texas. But he wasn't done serving his country or his community.
He was very proud of serving his country and being an American, and he passed it on to me as his daughter and then to his grandchildren.
Gallivan decided to take on the role of teacher at what used to be Ector High School and later moved to Odessa High, where he became the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps teacher for more than 20 years and continued his impact on the next.
Probably when I was a young adult, or a little bit older, is when I started realizing how much, but I didn't realize how much he did behind the scenes and didn't take credit for.
Donna Scholl, one of David Gallivan's daughters, said seeing others love her father the way family did was shocking, but in the best way.
It was overwhelmingly positive. I mean, it felt so good to know that they loved him like we did, that they understood that, he gave more than he took.
And his grandson Jason said it meant more to them to know he was so impactful on others besides themselves.
Knowing everything that he did, the impact that he had on so many people's lives, it feels good to know that. And it feels good to be able to share that with everybody because we get to share him with everybody.
Gallivan also coached the drill team, who the family says became another part of his family.
He cared about each individual person as much as the group as a team. And they became his family. I mean, he was with them all the time.
And Jason said it was extremely important to see someone as influential as his grandfather in his community.
He's the type of person that's the backbone of a community. Somebody who takes care of the community, takes care of the people, who has an impact on the community with nobody ever knowing.
Well, I have to say, covering the veterans in this community that have impacted everyone around them has just been such an incredible experience.
What was it like getting to know those 2 families?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, obviously it's 2 very different stories, different situations that's happening right now, but it's just great to see that each of them left such an impact, are still leaving an impact on the community today.
And it seems like West Texans really want to honor their veterans.
Absolutely, especially with that birthday story. Seeing how many people came out to support a local veteran is just incredible, and they continue to leave that lasting impact.
Well, great stories there. Thank you so much for that coverage.
Thank you.
And we're learning more tonight about 2 locals who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, we spoke to Representative Brooks Landgraf about Wilson and Young.
So Wilson and Young were both, young men who came of age in Odessa, went to high school at Odessa High and Permian High School, respectively. By all accounts, they didn't know each other when they were growing up in Odessa, and as I mentioned, went to different schools, and they certainly didn't, serve in the same unit or even the same branch of the military when they were both fighting in Vietnam. But what they do share in common, in addition to being from Odessa, is that they both made the supreme sacrifice for our country, and both did so very gallantly and very heroically, and saved some of their fellow soldiers and Marines in the process. So they gave their lives not only for their country, but for their fellow service members in combat. And then in another twist, they just happened to be buried a few feet away from each other at Sunset Memorial Gardens in Odessa. And for the longest time, as was typical with so many Vietnam era service members, they didn't get the acclaim that they deserved. They weren't recognized for their sacrifice the way that I think that they should be, and the way that service members in subsequent American wars have been. And so it's been, I think, important to a lot of their friends, to a lot of their family members, to a lot of their fellow veterans that that this tremendous sacrifice be recognized. And look, they were both awarded the Medal of Honor by President Nixon. Of course, that was done posthumously after they gave their lives. To have two Medal of Honor recipients from a relatively small city like Odessa, that in and of itself is very rare. But I think it also shows what a community like Odessa and so many other communities throughout West Texas do when our country asks men and women to step up to serve. West Texans are very patriotic people, and that call to duty is answered.
There's also a resource all aimed at bringing veterans with the same experiences together.
Yeah, the Permian Basin Honor Flight takes off here locally, and you can help make it happen.
It takes everybody to do this. A penny donation is just as good as anything else. It takes every cent to make this happen. And again, our goal is to get every veteran we can to DC, to enjoy this trip of a lifetime, to walk it with other men and women that have experienced similar things that they've experienced, and also for them to just sit down and have that camaraderie again of a brotherhood and a sisterhood.
To register or donate, just head to PermianBasinHonorFlight.org. Fundraising continues year-round.
There are also a lot of resources that West Texas vets may not know about.
Yeah, and after the break, we're going to hear from some people who are looking to give back to those people who put it all on the line. Stay with us. Our veterans are so important to us and so important to the community. That's why we're sharing resources for those vets in need.
That's like the West Texas VA. We sat down with them to learn what they're doing to keep vets healthy.
So we do a routine education of all of our veterans as they come in, but certainly when it gets to be flu season, we begin to really reach out to them and try to get those in because we don't want them to get in a situation where maybe they would have to be hospitalized. We want to promote good health. Well, it's always exciting to work for the veterans because you know what the veterans have done for us in the country. So as you walk through the halls here at the VA, you'll notice that many of our staff are constantly telling the veterans, thank you for your service, and making sure that they have a feeling of being appreciated. And so when we can take our time and our expertise and use that to promote good health for them and get them the services they needed, that's quite rewarding.
Meanwhile, the Permian Warrior Partnership is hoping to lend a helping hand to those who may need it.
Yeah, the organization is reaching out to those vets that come home to help them with health care, housing, and even employment.
So the Permian Warrior Partnership, what we do is we connect with the veterans, their families, their caregivers. We do an intake on them, find out what they need, what their wants are, and find those resources in the community pair them with those resources and then go through the process with them until they get their needs met to improve their quality of life. Being a veteran myself, my son's active duty now. My dad is a veteran. My grandfather's a veteran. My sister, both my brother are veterans. So it hits home. My goal is to make it better for the generations after me, exiting the military and smoothing that transition. Yeah, it's very fulfilling for me to connect with someone that's maybe looking for a job or health care or just needs a ride or help with their bills, to be the one that knows the resource to go to get them to the right person the first time, so they're not searching and maybe in risk of becoming homeless. It's been very rewarding to plug those folks in and then create that relationship with them for a lifetime.
Now, with Veterans Day just around the corner, there are a lot of people going out of their way to celebrate, including the Permian Warrior Partnership, who is hosting an event to celebrate.
Yeah, that will take place on Veterans Day. Everyone is welcome to come out. There's something for everybody there.
Yeah, so for Veterans Day this year, we've partnered with Midland College. We're going to do a 5K walk crawl run on Midland College campus. We're going to do a chili feed for the public. Everything is free to the public. We've got Veterans Cornhole Tournament.
Like we mentioned, that will be Saturday, November 11th. There will be a 5K fun run and a 1K crawl for kids. Not only that, but also a cornhole tournament, chili feed, and services fair, all for our local vets. That will be held at Midland College. UTPB also wants to help honor local vets.
The school wants to bring everyone together to pay tribute to local veterans.
We are proud to support more than 200 student veterans annually at UTPB. So we're recognizing their service to our country as well as the service of the community at large. Veterans play an important part of the Permian Basin, and we are honored to be able to host this celebration every year.
That event will be held on November 9th at the university, and we're told it will be one to remember.
We'll bring in community and campus partners, including our STEM school has an invitation, and the ROTC from local high schools are invited to participate in the program as well. We'll have musical performances by the UTPB ensembles to commemorate each branch of military service, and we're excited about the event.
Veterans who love motorcycles are in luck this Veterans Day.
That's right. Legacy Harley-Davidson is hosting a pancake breakfast.
I think we should do a little more for them. I wish we could do more than just 2 events a year for them. I usually attend the Memorial Day ride every year, which is usually 400 to 800 riders or more, something like that. That's a big thing, but that's at the beginning of the year, and then this time at the end of the year, we like to recognize them. But I think we should do more as a community. A lot of people do it for 4th of July, stuff like that, but I think there's more to it. So they do what they can for us, so why couldn't we do a little more for them?
That event will also be held on Saturday at 10 in the morning at the Legacy Harley-Davidson on Highway 80. The fun will last until noon, and there will be pancakes, sausage, fresh fruit, and coffee for any veteran who would like to attend. For more events like this, just head over to our website.
And stay with us. We've got to look at how you can honor the vets in your life.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Check this out. You can pay tribute to the veterans in your life with us right now on yourbasin.com. Just head to our website and click on Veterans Salute under the Community tab. There you can read more about local vets submitted by others and even submit your own tribute. While you're there, you can also find more about all the stories that you've heard here tonight, as well as the resources available to veterans right across West Texas. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an honor to tell the stories of those in the community that have fought for our freedom.
And a big thank you from all of us here to our active duty servicemen and women, as well as our veterans.
For Veterans Voices, I'm Madeline Bierster.
And I'm Madeline Dunn.
Have a great night.